Hello, everyone. Welcome to Immigration Live with Lee. I'm your host, Attorney Lee Marvin. So I'm here tonight. We've got a few topics that we wanted to talk about. And by we, I actually mean me, okay? So we've got I've got a topic or two that I want to talk about with people, okay? So basically, as you can see in the heading, I was going to talk about denials of visas and green cards. Okay. I was also going to talk about green card processes for parents. Okay. So a lot of these things require a certain amount of preparation to be able to make sure it's done the right way. So hopefully, with my assistance or my coaching or advice, you guys can file and you can get approvals for your parents, your spouse, whoever. Okay. I also want to mention that we are going to have another live webinar next Wednesday. And let's see, where's that stuff? Okay. So next Wednesday, there's a webinar that we're going to have, and I'm going to put the information. I mentioned it last week. Okay. I'm going to put the information here in the link. So, so you guys can link to it. So if you want to join, our free webinar, all you have to do is reach out to us and let us know, and we will send you an invitation, and we will make sure that you are part of this free webinar. Green card. We do a lot of different topics. Last time, it was a few weeks ago, we did fiance visa and consular processing green cards for spouses outside the United States. This month, we're doing one for the green card process for spouses inside the United States. And we want to make sure that everyone has access to that, has an invitation. So if you click the link here, you can be invited to that. Let me put it here. Welcome everyone who's joining us. Again, Attorney Lee Marvin here answering your immigration questions. There's a ton of people on Instagram joining us. So welcome everyone. And please don't forget to put your comments and questions in the comment section. Okay, so that's the way I'm going to be able to help you out if you have specific questions. Hopefully the question is not too specific, but just for sake of privacy and all that. But if you have a general question about immigration, please post it in the comment section, okay? So again, we're doing the marriage green card webinar next Wednesday, March 20th at 12:30, okay? So that's Eastern Standard Time. And we do it during the lunch hour, so people who are not available at night can actually participate in the daytime at lunch, okay? So please click on the link if you want to be invited to that, and we will make sure that you get the invitation, all the information you need in order to be a part of that, okay? So one of the topics that I wanted to talk about tonight was basically waivers for denials of different types of visas. And the big question I had from a client today, well, actually it was yesterday, can I get away with non-immigrant visas? Usually immigration requires you to be seeking a green card in order to qualify for certain types of waivers, okay? And that's for people trying to come into the United States. If you're in the United States, there's a lot of different processes that you might be able to get a waiver for. But the question was, can I get a waiver for non-immigrant visa, such as a tourist visa? I'm like, that's a very good question. I believe you can, but let me research it. And sure enough, there are certain types of processes where you're able to get a waiver for a denial. So this particular person contacted me for help because she had her tourist visa revoked. Okay, she's a very sweet and very smart girl, but immigration decided to revoke her tourist visa. What she didn't realize, and this was 2+ years ago, what she didn't realize is that she was eligible for a waiver, but In a case like that, you've got to apply for your waiver right away. Otherwise, immigration will essentially ignore you. They will presume that you're okay with their decision. And since you don't challenge them, it stands. Okay. So it stands, and it's extremely difficult to then try to remove the a revocation or denial. It's really hard to do unless you do it right away. So if you have gotten a denial, whether it's in the United States, outside the United States, don't wait to respond, because it'll kill you. Especially with a tourist visa. If you're denied a tourist visa, this other bit of advice I have for you: do not apply again and again and again and again, thinking that you will get an approval the next time. The more times you apply based on a status that the government doesn't think that you are eligible for, it's just making your problem that much worse. So if they make a decision and deny a tourist visa for whatever reason, and they don't always tell you exactly what it is, but if they make a determination in their paperwork, they say this person is not eligible, and then you apply for that tourist visa over and over and over again, thinking that it's just rotten luck, and you're sure you're going to get it this time, it's really horrible for your case. So don't do that. Talk to somebody, talk to me, talk to an attorney about this if that happens, because there's a small window of an opportunity to challenge the government on their decision. But definitely don't keep doing it, because it will absolutely create effects for the future that you just can't get around. Okay. It makes it even worse. There is such a thing as making things worse. So please contact somebody before you go out and do that yourself. I will also say that a lot of different types of visas are very technical, and you do have to prove to the government that you are eligible for a particular type of visa. If you're not eligible, or you can't communicate properly to the government that you're eligible, then you'll get denied. And once you get denied for one of these visas, it's almost game over for the future. Okay. You're not going to be able to get it approved again. So don't screw around with things like that. If you are serious about trying to come to the United States, whether it's for a tourist visa, whether it's a student visa, whether it's a green card, do it right. Don't mess around. Don't waste your time and money, because it is virtually impossible to unring that bell. And it's really hard to fix something that wasn't done right the first time. And a lot of attorneys won't even do it. Okay. So I'm one of the attorneys that, if something is so fouled in the very beginning, people do their own processes and they do such an inadequate job, I don't even take cases, because it's almost impossible to fix with immigration. Okay. So that being said, let me look at some of these questions here. Okay. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome. Don't forget to put your questions and comments in the comments section. Also, I'm going to post again. We have a webinar next Wednesday at lunchtime. So check out this link. And if you want to be a part of our free webinar, the webinar is about marriage green cards for processes inside the United States. Okay. So check out that link. Okay. So a question here from Dean. I have an old green card and an employee for a new one. They gave me a date for fingerprinting. Do you have any idea what's next? Or are they going to mail it? Okay. So Dean, if you have an appointment for your biometrics, your fingerprinting, and your picture, again, it depends on where it comes during your process. Usually that's in the beginning part of their process. So basically it's very hard to tell when you're going to be able to move forward with your interview. Okay. And again, I suspect that there's more going on here that's evident in your question. But usually you file for the request, you got a receipt notice of the filing, you get a biometrics notice for your fingerprinting, and then it fast forward in time down to the point where they're reviewing and they're doing your background check and they're going to schedule your interview. So that's usually what happens next. Okay, I got a request to pin the link, which I already did, so you should be good with that. I will pin this link too, which is our consultation link for a lot of people that have very specific questions that they need to reach out to me directly. You can schedule an appointment to talk to me about your process. So that's what that link is there. Okay, after getting approval for 485, what's next? If you've got an approval for 485, usually that means that your green card is approved, okay? So if you have an approval for 485, it means it's approved. Again, it really depends on what sort of process you have, meaning a green card is the culmination, or that's the end game for lots of different processes. So it really depends on what other type of process you have. So yeah, but usually the approval of your green card is your green card and you're pretty much done. And the next step in your process will be actually doing your citizenship in 3 to 5 years after you get that approval. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my friends in YouTube. I got a question here. Juana, I submitted for my wife in December, received, and in January 4th, it changed status to actively review. On my progress, it said 3 months for a decision. Is it true? So they said on December 26th, January 4th, change your status to being actively reviewed, and online it says about 3 months. I will say that the online portals are notoriously incorrect and they don't actually provide reliable information. I know that's horrible to hear, but in my experience, I personally don't rely on what the government says online because I don't trust them. I go on my experience doing this for so many years. I generally know how long it takes once I get a response. If I know that the filing was done right, I kind of know what the time frame is. I'm not saying that it's not helpful to get that information online, but I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I wouldn't count on it, especially with election time and all the craziness that's going on with this political up and down. It's notoriously unreliable. And we already know that you can't talk to immigration about it. So you pretty much all you have is that online system. And I have helped lots of clients figure out how to find information on there, but it's just not really reliable these days. Okay. Let's see. So welcome to all of our friends on Instagram and our friends, of course, on Facebook, as well as YouTube. Okay. So if you're just joining us, please drop your comments in the comment section or your questions so I can help you understand what's going on with your process. Okay. So next week, I'm doing a webinar. You think this is going to take? Okay. I'm looking at another question I have here. Okay. So basically, our webinar next week, Wednesday, it's for green cards for people inside the United States, for spouse processes inside the United States. And I will say that a lot of these webinars, reflect what's going on with the immigration. Okay. And I will say that, what was I saying? I was looking at these comments here. So basically, the question all the time from people is, how long is stuff going to take? Okay. Like if I filed marriage green card application and how long does it typically take for marriage green card application to process all the way through to an interview? So usually I tell people it's 10 months to a year is historically how it's been with my filings for my client. It could be longer, but if you enter it properly with a visa, you don't have any weird history, prior immigration history, you file the clean filing, and you have addressed all the potential issues that immigration is going to have. Usually it's less than a year that you and your sponsor are going to go to your interview. A lot of people have asked me about the interviews and whether they're going to be waived. That was a thing for about 10 minutes, right? Immigration was canceling interviews for people because of trying to clear their docket for post-COVID issues. I haven't experienced it in about a year and a half. So if you're wondering if you're going to be relieved of the burden of going to your interview, probably is not going to happen, but it's possible. It all depends on your case, your history, your relationship. Because I've had more often than not parents not have to go to their interview based on sponsoring from their children. Because again, if you have a clean immigration history and your sponsor is a U.S. citizen, happens to be your child is on a birth certificate, it's very clear that you're related. There are a lot of times where immigration will cancel that interview. So I see it more often with parents and children. Okay. Okay, here we go. Question. Well, Denny, I'm very well. Thank you, sir. My son is 16 years old and lives in Brazil. How long does his process take? Being applied to me and my wife. I'm in Massachusetts and waiting for my 601A. So, so that's a compound question. Whenever I see a 601A waiver as a part of somebody's question, I slam on the brakes, because the immigration slammed on the brakes about a year and a half ago. And it's taken them 2 years or longer to process the waivers. As you may already know, if your process requires a waiver for you to be able to get a green card, you have to get the waiver before you can get the green card. So you are at the mercy of the 601A waiver process. Okay. Okay. So what it sounds like is that you're going through a process and you want to get approved so you can then apply for your 16-year-old son. Again, until your waiver is approved, until you have legal permanent residency, that's going to take a while. Okay. Once you get a residency, then you can sponsor your minor child. The waiting period, the visa bulletin came out, I think today or maybe yesterday. I just recorded a video that I'm going to post on YouTube in the next couple of days about the visa processing times for the visa bulletin. Typically, it's a couple years, 2 to 3 years or longer, depending on your relationship. Okay. Okay, so let's go over here. Again, lots of people, lots of our Instagram fans are joining, and welcome to everyone. Please post your questions and comments in the comment section. Please know that we have another webinar, free webinar scheduled next week that I'm going to put a link to right now. So if you have questions about marriage green cards, the process inside the United States, then please check out this link and let it be known that you want to participate in that webinar, and we will hook you up with the information to make sure that you are a part of that. Okay. Again, marriage green card in the United States is very different than the process outside the United States. So a few weeks ago, we did one with a fiancé visa and a spouse visa outside the United States. Now we're doing the one inside the United States because there's a ton of questions that we had during that webinar that people are confused about the differences. So that's what this webinar next week is going to be about. So please click on the link and let us know if you want to join us for that. Again, it's free. It's a free webinar. So please go ahead and do that. Okay. So I also have the link there for consultation. If you want to reach out to me, if you have a specific question about something, especially during this time of great confusion with politics, the upcoming elections, lots of people need additional help on certain things such as waivers, and whether they can qualify, how they convince the government of their need, of their hardship. All that stuff can be talked about during a consultation, or you can look at my videos. I've got a lot of really good videos on YouTube that talk about a lot of these things. So please check out my YouTube channel, okay? Because there's a ton of information on there, okay? So I want to ask you about a U visa. How long is the processing? And can I get a premium process for U visa? Okay. So U visas have changed like most of immigration the last few years for the better, okay? So U visa used to be a solid 5 to 7 years to be able to move forward with your U visa, to get your U visa before you can show the government that you meet all the requirements and then qualify for a green card, okay? They've changed that a bit, okay? There is no premium processing for any process other than business or work-related visas, okay? So if you think that you're going to get a premium processing, you pay extra, doesn't happen in family-based immigration, okay? So family-based, and I will say most humanitarian-based processes do not provide that. It's only for work-related stuff, okay? But I will tell you that one of the important changes that occurred, it was a year ago. It's called a bona fide determination. If you file your U visa and the government does a sua sponte, which means that they look it up themselves, they review your case, they do a short version of the review to see whether you have a bona fide or genuine U visa request. If you do, they will grant you the authorization to apply for a work permit, okay? That is kind of how they've figured out how to make the U visas work better for people, because there is still about a 5 or longer year waiting period for the U visa to be approved, okay? So the bona fide determination allows people to get a work permit, get the license, and get everything they need in order to stay in the United States without too much difficulty, okay? So check that out. If you think that you're eligible for U visa, you need to talk to me. And my link is right there in the comment section. You need to talk to me because there's certain types of crimes or problems that people have that absolutely are eligible for U visa, but a lot of them aren't, okay? And you got to do things in the right way, in the right time, and you have to have the right information to provide to both immigration and to local law enforcement. So reach out to me so I can help you with it if you've got a U visa case, okay? I do not do work-related visas. So that's a question earlier. I don't do work visas. I do family-based immigration. I do humanitarian-based immigration, like asylum, like U visas and things like that, okay? So let me go back over to our friends over here on YouTube. What is the wait time for resident visas in Mumbai? So, Arif, I want you to check my YouTube channel because I have a video that's going to be coming out in the next 2 days. It might be tomorrow. Then I talk about the wait times, okay? Everything comes down to where you are and who your sponsor is, okay? So wait times are different. There's 4 different categories. It's U.S. citizens sponsoring their adult children, U.S. citizens sponsoring their spouses, legal permanent residents. You get the point. There's different categories, and there's vastly different wait times for that. So check out my YouTube channel for the video that's coming out in the next couple of days. I do have videos from the last month's visa bulletin, that you can check that out and get a good sense of what it is as far as wait times. Check it out, okay? I don't have the information in front of me, but that information is definitely in my video, okay? So check that out. Welcome everyone who's joining us. You're welcome. Rosa Maria, de nada, el gusto es mío. So please, if you have questions or comments, put in the comment section. Let me go over here to our friends at Instagram. Lots of our friends from Instagram. Can you apply for advanced parole while waiting for T visa? Advanced parole is a very helpful process. It now has been expanded. So if you are in the United States based on the humanitarian type process, typically you have the right to request advanced parole. What is advanced parole? For those of you who didn't ask this question, advanced parole is a special request to the government to allow you to leave the country for a short period of time and then to return legally. That's a game changer for people, especially if you entered illegally and you now are married to a U.S. citizen who can sponsor you for a green card, and all of a sudden now you have advanced parole that legally changes your status from unauthorized entry and unauthorized presence to now having presence that will allow you to move forward with the process, okay? So check that out. If you have a question about that, please reach out to me. Okay, green cards for parents. I'm getting questions here. I'm due for my citizenship and I didn't file my tax return 3 years ago because I didn't work. Is that something I should be worried about? Okay, so not filing for taxes is always problematic, okay? If you didn't work, you didn't have the legal obligation to file taxes. So that's a big difference between just blowing off the government, not filing taxes, and not having a legal obligation to pay taxes. You have to pay and file taxes if you've worked, okay? If you derived income inside the United States, that's what triggers your obligation to file and pay for taxes. If you didn't work, then that's something that you don't typically have to worry about, okay? Let's see. Tours. I don't know. Okay, so April 1st, the prices are going to go up on most things related to immigration. I don't know what the prices are at this point. They have all that stuff online. It's a massive, multi-page document that tells every possible process and the corresponding fee. I will say that virtually all fees are going to increase. Some of them quite a bit, some of them not much at all. Okay, so I don't know what a tourist visa filing fee is going to be, but after April 1st, I can certainly tell you that. I'm going to record a video. I post stuff on social media in the coming weeks when they release this, because it's been a proposal, okay? So it's not official yet. It's official on April 1st. So I will post that stuff on social media and probably do a slick video to help people understand what these things are. So I will say that a lot of it depends on the embassy too. So tourist visas, there's different elements that depend on the embassy. Because if you've never been to a U.S. embassy in your country, all the fees are paid based on local currency, okay? So it depends. So if you need help with this, obviously, when you get to that point, reach out to me and I can help you figure out what that is, okay? So let's see here. Okay, yep, wait for my video. Excellent. We'll make it loud and clear on our social media what that stuff is. So stand by for that. It will happen. Let's see. Let me go over here. So again, like I said, most fees are going to increase, but in many cases, they don't really break the bank, the increases, but it is nice to not have to pay the government even more than you already should have to, okay? So I'm getting questions about green cards for parents. Okay, that is something that that I've been meaning to talk about. Green card processes for parents are very important. And what is important in figuring out what it takes to do is how your parent is in the United States, okay? If they enter with a visa or if they entered without a visa, without authorization, their process will depend greatly on the manner of entry, and whether it was with a permit or without. Okay, there are ways of fixing processes. If your parent entered without authorization, the parole in place or the military program is huge. We have a lot of clients that we're helping do this. Basically, military provides a benefit for family members, and parole in place is the way that's one of the biggest benefits. Okay, so what it is you get the ability to parole in place, meaning you don't have to leave the country to get permission to re-enter the country, which is what advanced parole does. You get the ability to do it inside the United States, so you don't ever have to leave the country to be able to fix your papers. So you get that parole in place and you move forward with your green card process. You go to your interview in the United States because your child, could be a spouse too, is in the military and gives you that right through the military. Okay, so it's a very helpful program, especially for parents that have been here for 20 plus years and don't otherwise have the ability to get like a waiver. Okay, because parents of children that were born in the United States don't have the right to do a waiver because children can't sponsor their parents for a waiver. So one way around that is through the Parole in Place program. Just remember it, think about it. Schedule a consultation. Let me put the link here. The link is here. If you have a question about it, like I said, I've helped a lot of parents of military members. So reach out to me and I can definitely help you do that. It's an absolute life changer. The last 2 or 3 months, I've done 6 or 7, and people are hysterically happy when it actually works, and they don't believe it. And I tell them it does, it works. And they're green card holders without having to leave the country. Massive, massive program. If somebody is about to graduate high school and join the military, will she need to wait until she's 21 to apply for parents? Yes, affirmative, 100%. You can join the military after you're 18, but yes, to sponsor your parent, you absolutely have to be 21 years old. That is a very good question, okay? So thank you for that question. And let's see. Man, time flies every week. So every week I do these, okay? Every week at 8 o'clock. It was a little bit different tonight because the time changed, but thank you for everyone who joined us. And again, don't forget to either schedule a consultation with me if you need to talk about something specific that you don't want to share on here, or if you want to join our webinar, which is next week, Wednesday. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to show the graphic for our webinar on this. Okay, let's see here. It's not there. Yeah. So basically click the link. The information's there. Okay. So click the link and reach out to us. We'd love to have you here. And my assistant is telling me to click on the image. And again, the image, yeah, I'm going to have to work that kink out. I'm looking in the comment section, the banner section, and yeah, forget about it. So click on the link, and we will make sure that you are involved and you're invited to this. You get a free invitation to our webinar next week, Wednesday. Okay. So take a look, check with us. Again, if you have any questions, if I didn't get to you today, I apologize, but this always goes very, very fast, and there's always lots of really good questions. Please click the consultation link so you can reach me directly, so you can make sure to get your questions answered. So next week, Wednesday at 12:30, that's Eastern Standard Time, Detroit time, that is when our marriage green card webinar is going to be scheduled. So please put that on your calendar and click the link so you can get the information on how you participate in that. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a good night.